Hi everybody, welcome to Historian Stitch. I have help today, who's currently not being overtly helpful.
Everybody, I'm the help today, and this is also the help. My name is Josh.
Kind of.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so we're doing a redo of a video because I did not get all the information I wanted in, and it was a random mess.
Understatement.
Rude. So, we are doing another how to dress 1850s, 1860s video, except with work dress only. One of these days I will do the other version of dress too, but not today. So, put it back. This one is going to be videoing and asking questions, so if you hear a random voice from the void,
That's me.
it be him. So,
I have a hunting voice now because I'm losing it, so
okay.
I will haunt your dreams.
Okay.
So, what are you wearing right now?
Basically I'm starting with wrapper, which is basically your house coat, but since nobody wears house coats today, it's what you were wearing before you even bother putting anything else on. So basically, the wrapper goes over your shift and panelettes and your first petticoat, and I currently have my stockings and my boots already on, because putting those on after corset is pain in the butt, because then you can't move very well. I mean, you can, but it's... Nah.
Okay.
So... Alright, so... just for visual reference, this is your shift and or chemise, chemisette. There are like 15 different words for that. This is my privacy petticoat, and then under that I have panelettes, stockings. Always wear garters, because if you don't, your stockings stay around your ankles and it's problematic. Basically all of these layers are to keep your body sweat and grossness off of this pile.
So, in other words, you're basically wearing like a cloth towel underneath of everything.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Which is why it's all white, because white is actually easier to clean and easier to buy from the general store to get a, like, create new. This isn't going to cost near as much as any of the colored stuff, because that's more labor intensive to create.
Now, like you said, it is easier to clean, but of course, back in like the 1860s, it was a lot longer to clean everything. How many pairs of these would general women have? Like, generally people would have?
I mean, personally, I would want probably close to 7, because you're only washing every 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that way you've got one for every day, especially in July or August for here in Virginia, where it's grossness. So, and then once you've got all of that on, then is the corset. Mine is a lovely linen, because I made my own, and it's breathable that way. One thing that I get asked a lot is how I put it on, and that's basically it. A lot of people unlace all of the back. I've still got the bottom one tied, so all I have to do is worry about the upper one, and it's so much easier.
Now, is it the way that it's made that makes it so easy, or is it what it's made out of? It makes it so easy
to put it on?
To put it on, yes.
It's how I leave it tied.
Okay.
How I leave it tied is what makes it easy, because my waistline never changes. Or at least the bottom strand doesn't, because it's wrapped around my hips. My hip bones aren't going to move.
Okay.
The upper part is going to change depending on the heat and mess, because breathing is important, and that's where your diaphragm is. So.
Yeah, we all saw what happened to Elizabeth Swann.
Minor detail. Most of these are made out of cotton or canvas, which is really hot, but also breathable somehow. A lot of people get asked if they are hot wearing all of it, and usually you say, well, actually, no, that not that bad. Even with the corset, or at least I say that at work, and it turns into a, you're wearing a corset? Like, yeah, well, as long as the heat doesn't get in, you're fine. And the same for in the winter of, if you get a cold chill, it's never going away. The corset holds it in. The next layer, in theory, would be corset cover. This is the next layer because it keeps, again, all of the nastiness off the corset itself. I rarely ever wear this, partially because it doesn't fit very well, and partially because it's an extra layer that gets really hot, and if you suddenly decide throughout the day that you want to wear a ball gown, you have to take it off. So it's useful, but not as useful as the rest of the layers. And then for work dress, you then start putting on all of the petticoats. First one being corded petticoat that is in desperate need of starching. Basically, all of these cords, the starching process, you're going to heavily starch this sucker, and all of that starch seeps into the cords here. So by the time it's done, I want this thing to stand up on its own. Technically, I would want all of my petticoats to stand up on their own, but it makes it a whole lot easier.
How often do we have to starch the petticoats?
About once a month.
Once a month you have to
Unless you get caught in the rain.
And how long will that take?
As long as it takes to dry.
Fun.
Because starch is one of those things that they would have been able to buy from general store. Or if you really want to, you can make it by boiling the crap out of a pound of potatoes to starch all of your petticoats. Yeah, if you're not careful and you don't boil it down correctly and strain it correctly, your starch will mold.
I was about to ask that.
And your petticoats will get really gross and nasty, and it's easier just to either use borax in a water mixture or just go buy it.
But in some cases, people didn't have enough to go buy another one.
Depended on where you were. Next layers are petticoats. I typically wear anywhere from 2 to 3 because it helps pull it out a little bit further. Basically, all of these petticoats are helping to hold the skirt away from you so that while you're working, it's not problematic and you're not stepping on it. No, the colors have no real meaning. Basically, these used to be old skirts, which is something they did. You take old skirts and you turn them into petticoats because they're still solid enough you can use them, and it's expensive material, so you're going to find other uses for them. And then...
Now, just for reference, these petticoats never really had pockets. This is something of her creation, really.
Actually, no. Petticoats could have pockets.
Never mind.
Part of it is because these used to be a skirt. Skirts did have pockets, not usually this small. These are a little on the small side.
I stand corrected.
For what I would make, because I can't fit a pair of fabric shears in them.
Now, for those of you that have been paying
my hand in.
For those of you that have been paying attention, all of what stuff she has on now, that's the pile now.
That's corset.
The fact that she's counting tells you how many layers she's already has on.
That's 8 layers.
8 layers, and she still's got to put all these on. Everything on this chair right here she has to put on.
My next layer is what I typically use in place of the corset cover. It is a neckerchief. Technically, this one is a gentleman's handkerchief, but it works. It's going to, when I have my hair up, it's going to protect my neck from the sun, but it's also going to keep It's obviously covering my shoulders, so the rest of that fabric's not going to be touching my skin of the dress. And it's, for the most part, protecting the corset as well. Not necessarily greatly well, but that can even be a term. And then one of my last layers is going to be, of course, the dress. This one needs a little bit of help. Hello, Scarlett.
Makeshift pockets.
Kind of. It helps hold it down long enough that I can put the dress itself on without it trying to fly away. Now, at this point, since my pockets aren't where I can reach them in the petticoat, actually, technically, I'm missing a layer for that. You can have tie-on pockets that are really useful. It's very 18th century kind of thing where you make a pocket. This is going on a drawstring, and these are definitely big enough that I could put a pair of fabric shears in. A lot of us like to also make them big enough to put a bag of chips in, if possible, because this many petticoats, you're never going to know what's underneath.
You had a rifle under there for all you know.
Yeah. But you would tie those around your waist, and you could have it at the slit of the pocket, or at the split in the skirt. There's the correct word. So in the case of this dress, I would want it right here on my hip. That way it's just a quick and easy grab and run. So many buttons. Now, one reason for all of the layers, other than to give the shape of the time, is this is a work dress. I am going to be cooking in this sucker a lot, or just around fire in general. All of those layers help keep the heat from the fire away from me. And if I do happen to catch fire, as my patches suggest I already have.
We'll show the patches again.
My lovely patches. Because there are so many layers and they are all made of cotton or linen or wool, they're going to fizzle out almost immediately. And it's going to take a whole lot longer for it to hit my skin than it would be for you. For any gentleman who would happen to be cooking, they have maybe 2 layers on, maybe. So it's going to take a very short amount of time to burn the skin versus me where I've got 11 layers now before it hits me. And then technically every layer on top of this is, or everything I put on after this is another layer. So jewelry, hairnets, aprons, all of that would be a whole nother layer technically, according to 1850s, 1860s. So yeah.
Now, will this only be just for cooking, or when you say a work dress, this is like even field work, like what you need to do outside as well?
This is an everything dress.
Okay, so it's an everything dress. Okay.
For upper class women, this dress would basically be the wrapper. You can put that on, and it has buttons or hooks all the way down the front, so you can close it, and you're not going to be visiting and meeting people in it, but you can work around the house in it.
I see.
Not that upper class women would need to do that, because you've got people doing it for you. But in the case of areas like this, in the valley, where you've got middle class families, where you could be wearing a hoop, or you could be just wearing a work dress, you're definitely going to have one of these in your wardrobe. What do you think?
Alright. Well, I think that covers everything.
I hope so. With that, I believe that's everything. If anybody's got any questions, please ask in the comments below. Like, follow, subscribe. I need to stop saying we. Have a Facebook page called Historian Stitch on there as well, and Instagram, all of which being under the same name. So, yeah. See y'all next time.
Bye.